All right, Dylan. Dylan, where'd you grow up? Where are you from originally?
I'm from Louisiana,
What part?
Lafayette, Louisiana,
Lafayette.
or a little town outside of Lafayette called Breaux Bridge. It's the crawfish capital of the world.
Yeah, I know it well. Tell me about your family.
My father was a little bit more abusive than most, but pretty normal family life. But what he did to me later on, when he found out that I was using drugs, then it got a whole lot worse for him. But my early childhood was pretty normal. But once he found out that I was using drugs, then it went to hell in a handbasket, you know. Because when I was 16, when I was 14, I started using from my parents and my grandparents' pill cabinet, you know, like the narcos and the hydrocodone and all that stuff. And so he found a bag of it in my truck when I was crawfishing, basically when I was fishing. And so he basically started hitting me with the shovel and all that shit. He tied my dog's neck to the ground for like 3 days and put a bunch of dead chickens around its neck and let it decompose there for 3 days. And then after that, he made me shoot the dog in the back of the head and told me never to use drugs again. And then eventually he found me with more drugs. And so he sent me off to California.
To a rehab or a
Yeah.
program?
Right when I turned 18,
Yeah.
too.
How old are you now?
I'm 23.
23.
Yeah.
And you're still using?
Yeah.
Where do you stay now?
I'm staying at the Cecil. I finally got a place to stay, finally.
Oh, you got housing.
Yeah, yeah.
You've been on the street before that?
Yeah. For 4.5 years, yeah.
In what neighborhood? In Skid Row or?
Skid Row and in the Tenderloin in San Francisco.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How do you compare the two?
How would I compare the two? So the Tenderloin's a lot more condensed. Tenderloin's a lot more I'd say their drug dealing organization is a lot better because you have the Hondurans running the drug game. So you'll just have a street block full of Hondurans, and they control the drug game. And so any time, of the day, you could just go. It could be 4 a.m., 12 p.m. Any time of day, you can go and get what you need. And out here, it's kind of you gotta find drug dealers and shit like that. But, out there, you know where to find it.
Right.
So,
Which one's more dangerous?
dangerous as in what?
A white boy getting hurt on the street.
I'd say out here, probably.
Especially at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday, a guy got shot and killed right in front of my door.
Yeah, I heard about that. I heard about a shooting.
Yeah. It was right here.
Really?
And how do you make money? How do you support yourself?
So what I would do was, for the whole 4.5 years, I would boost. But what I found particularly useful was I would go to a grocery store and steal all their carne asada. I don't know how to say it, carne asada. And I would take all of their carne asada and I would put it in a backpack and I'd go to Mexican restaurants and sell it to them because they'd have to buy it anyway retail because they're not established enough to have a distributor, a meat distributor. And so I would be basically their meat distributor for all their meats and stuff like that. So I'd sell them for $5 each when they're really $20 steaks each, you know what I'm saying?
How do you like this lifestyle? How does it affect you emotionally?
Emotionally, it's anxiety wise, it's hell. It's hell on earth. Because every day you wake up, you have to figure out what the fuck am I gonna do to make money? I also go to Walgreens and
What's your typical day look like? You wake up and do what?
I wake up, I get well.
Do you have some Is fentanyl your drug?
Yeah.
Do you have fentanyl left over from the day before?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been using Fetty for so long that like I don't even feel it anymore. So like 2 years so far.
Your body's used to it.
Yeah, my body's used to it.
Have you OD'd?
Like when I was first starting out, I OD'd a couple of times, yeah, 7 times. And those were only the times in San Francisco. And all those times were only off of pressed Xanax bars,
Which have fentanyl in them.
which had fentanyl in them, yeah.
So your typical day, you'll wake up, you'll get well,
Yeah,
and then
typical
you'll figure out a way
day,
to make more money.
get well, go out, use the public transportation, go up to North Hollywood area, you know, any way, you know, any of the, you know what I mean, like the train station map. I'd go out to Pasadena, or I'd go to Santa Monica, or I go to Long Beach, and I just find a Rite Aid or a CVS. What I do is I take my jacket, right, and I take any old regular jacket, and I would open it up, and I'd take a razor, and I'd cut it open like this. I'd cut it open like this, so when I walk in, I could just shove as many makeup items as I can in each like, you know, thing, and I put my hands in my pocket and I walk out.
Then you sell it to a fence.
A fence, yeah.
Do you have friends on the street?
I try not to have too many friends on the streets.
You can't trust anyone?
Can't really trust nobody now. But I do have a few, like, you know. Yeah. But, I mean.
Do you feel like your drug use is in some way a response to your dad's?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I remember when he finally. So the reason why he sent me to California was because when I was 18, I got caught like 2 hours away from where I lived in Louisiana with like a little baggie of meth in my car. After that, that was it. You just put me on a flight to Costa Mesa, and that was the last time I ever saw him. And so a lot of my use is because of what he's done to me. I mean, everything was fine before I turned like around 14, 15, when he knew I was doing drugs. Then he started upping like the ante, if you will. Like he would like hit me a lot more. Like he would hit, like, I remember he'd always hit me with the butt of a shotgun, like, you know, like, or a shovel, anything he could use. But, you know, I always thought that it was my fault, you know, because I was a drug addict. And so, like, when I was in the program that he sent me to, I sort of came to terms with the fact that, like, you know, it wasn't my fault, and that, like, I had a disease, you know, like it wasn't my fault that, like, you know, I was fucking up that way. So I wrote him a letter. I wrote him a letter saying that, you know, that I sort of forgave him, but not really forgave him for what he's done, because it'll always, like, you know, I'll always have that scar in my life from what he's done to me. But I'm like, basically I want to have a relationship with him still. And so I'll call him every once in a while, and, you know, we're on a lot better terms than we were.
Do you have hope of getting clean one day?
I do, because it's not sustainable. I have have a lot of hope of getting clean one day.
What are you afraid of?
Huh?
What are you afraid of?
What am I afraid? I'm afraid of being one of these people outside begging for money on the corner with nothing. I'm afraid of hopelessness. you know.
What was your favorite memory in your life?
My favorite memory in my life, that's a tough one. My favorite memory, I guess, or series of memories, is just being a kid and not having the idea or even the notion that drugs existed. You know, before I even knew about, you know, pills or any of that. Like, that's my favorite memory. Like, all the memories I had when I was a kid, when I'd have paintball, you know, gun wars with my friends when I was a kid. Like, those are my favorite memories. Before, like, all this, like, drug shit started to happen, you know?
You been in love before?
Huh?
Have you been in love before?
Yeah. I was very much in love for 4 years.
Did drugs complicate that?
Oh, how could they not?
Right.
Because I had to basically support both of us, because she wasn't good at making money. So she would just sit back and let me go into the store and take all the risks, you know? And that's what I did every time. And that's ultimately why I broke up with her, because I was like, you know, it's just not gonna work like this. You gotta, like, put at least some effort into, like, what we're doing here, or else this isn't gonna work. But also, she's also a controlling megalomaniac, so I just fell out of love with her, because I guess, I mean, she was like, there was one time when we were in San Francisco where she was in crack psychosis, and I walked into the alley that we usually slept in, and I found her, like, fucking some dude, like, both fully naked and shit, and I just kicked the shit out of this dude's head. I felt bad for that, because I knew it wasn't his problem, but, like, I was just so pissed off at her, and, like, I never forgave her after that. Because we had been together for, like, 4 years, 3 years prior to that. Like, I never thought she would do that to me, you know.
If you had your life to live all over again, what would you have done differently?
That's a tough one. I guess I would have taken care of myself like I would have wanted. I would have taken care of myself how I would have wanted someone else who I loved to be taken care of. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Makes perfect sense.
Because I treated myself like as a person who didn't need any love, or didn't just, you know, who didn't. I treated myself as a person who
Didn't deserve it?
didn't deserve it. Yeah, who didn't deserve it, who deserved nothing but, like, destruction and chaos, and it's just, yeah.
Do you feel like life is unfair?
I don't. I feel like it's unfair to those who, I mean, it's all about, I mean, Heidegger, do you know about Heidegger, a philosopher? Well, he said there's this idea that he came up with called thrownness, or thrownness. And thrownness is basically the principle that we're all thrown into this world. Like, we don't have a choice whether we're either white or black, whether we're addicted to drugs, whether we're, you know, this or that or this or that, you know. You know, some people have it better, obviously, you know. So that's how I'd see it. I think it's unfair in that aspect, you know. Some people have it better than others. I think I won the genetic lottery, basically, by being a male in one of the most powerful countries in the world. But I also feel like I didn't win the genetic lottery, because I have this, like, feeling inside me where I want to use all the time, you know.
Do you feel like you were loved as a child?
No. No. I felt like, so the way I felt was, I felt like my dad was an aggressor, and I felt like my mom was a person who would just look the other way and let it happen, you know? And so that's the way I grew up.
Would you describe yourself as generally happy?
I'm a happy person.
You
Like,
seem to be.
yeah. I love talking to people. I love meeting new people.
You have a good head on your shoulders.
Yeah, I thank you. um, it's just the circumstances I found myself in, just like for, I don't know how it got so crazy, like so fast. Cause like what happened is that I came to California for the treatment, and then once I was done with the treatment, they just threw me out on the streets. And so I was just homeless right after I got out of treatment. And then when I called my dad, he didn't answer. And so I didn't know how to reach my family or anybody. And so I stayed homeless for about a year in Costa Mesa in my car. And I ended up selling my car for money because I had no other option, pretty much. And I just kept using from there. Then I met a girl. She went to San Francisco State, and so I followed her there, not knowing that San Francisco was going to be probably the worst thing for my addiction and stuff like that. And then I moved back here with her, and I moved back up there with her, and then finally we moved back down together, and then that's when we broke up. Because I tried to stay with her for a little bit longer after finding her with some other dude, but I just couldn't do it, you know. Like my dick wouldn't even get hard for her anymore, you know. And that's when I knew I was just like I can't do it. I'm sorry. You're not the one for me.
Dillon, what would you say is the most important lesson you've learned in your life?
That's a tough one, man. I'd say the most important lesson in my life is just to treat others the way you wish to be treated, like the golden rule. But I feel like there's much more to it, you know? Like you have to, I don't know. I really don't know.
You believe in karma?
A little bit, yeah, in a little superstitious way. I believe that whatever you put into the world comes back to you. So I try to do as much good as I can, you know. And I hate the fact that what I have to do to get drugs, you know, like often when security guards are chasing me out the stores, I'm yelling, sorry, I'm a drug addict, sorry, like I'm crying, I'm like, you know. That's fucked up, man. You know, because I don't want to be doing that to the stores and like, you know, taking their products and stuff like that. It's just, yeah.
All right, Dillon. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Yeah, no problem,
I
man.
wish you the best of luck out there.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.